Hey, welcome back to my channel. I'm about to go to bed, but I felt really inspired to make this little video. And it's to talk about why it's so important for us to not ignore our triggers and because they carry such amazing messages and information about stuff that has been repressed into our subconscious minds. Um, but however, they often go completely ignored because we're so used to just numbing ourselves and ignoring everything that is uncomfortable to us. A few years ago, when my daughter was um, barely 1 years old, she had just started walking, and I was sitting in the living room. Sorry, I was sitting in the living room, and I just suddenly felt her hands wrap around my neck really tightly. Um, And instead of me just unraveling her little tiny 1 year old arms around my neck, I just pushed her and she fell on the side. And I was in shock. I was like, what did I just do? What happened here? I was really terrified at the violence of my reaction. And I just could not understand why I had reacted that way. And luckily for me, it was at a moment in my life where I was meditating daily. And even though I had very little understanding of myself compared to what I have today and about emotional triggers and stuff like that, I was meditating daily. So I was really aware of myself. So while I sat in silence after that event, j'essaie de faire une vidéo, j'ai presque fini, yeah? So while I sat in silence after that incident, suddenly I had a flash of something that happened to me when I was 10 years old that I hadn't even thought of in literally almost, I was 22 at the time, like in over 10 years, I hadn't thought about it. And it suddenly came back to me with all the emotions that I had felt on that day when it happened. I'm just going to tell you briefly about it. I was at a summer camp when I was 10 years old, and one morning after I arrived, I was just standing because it was a really, really big I wouldn't know how to call compound. It was really, really large. There was plenty space, plenty outdoor spaces. And before we started with our activities, because we spent the whole day there, we had some sort of assembly. So we would all meet, and then they would dispatch us into our various groups, into the activities that we had chosen to participate in. So that morning, that was before the assembly, so all the children that had arrived were just playing around and doing whatever. And suddenly I felt hands wrap around my neck, and oh, getting emotional just talking about it. This boy strangled me. I thought I was gonna die. Like, he strangled me. He held my neck so tight. I couldn't breathe. I fought my way out of it, but I couldn't get out of it. I just couldn't breathe. And I just thought I was gonna die. It was so terrifying. And yeah, that is the memory that came flashing. And it makes perfect sense that that would have come, that I would have reacted that way, because after that event, I never told anyone. I didn't tell my parents. I didn't tell anyone. It's just something that I make completely, that I completely repressed into my subconscious mind because I just probably didn't know how to deal with it. Um, and the smart thing would have been to talk about it with my parents, but I don't know why. I just didn't talk about it and never mentioned it to anyone. And it was such a traumatic experience for me. And I really, yeah, I really, it became clear to me how traumatic that had been to me because of how strongly I was able to feel those emotions 10 plus years later of an event that I had never even thought of, to me, that didn't even exist. Because if someone had asked me like prior to that, list something really awful that someone has ever done to you that was violent, I'm sure that memory would have never come up for me. So it was deeply, deeply repressed into my subconscious mind. And yeah, that's why I think it's very important for us to not just ignore our triggers, but try to just sit with the discomfort and sit with the emotions that come up and just really ask, what is this about? What is what is being trying what oh my god, what message is being communicated to me through this emotions right now? And really really sit with it and give it attention. Bring our full awareness, our full presence to this feelings that come up for us, and not just ignore them, because they come up for a reason. They really do come up for a reason. And sometimes it's things that may not be as um traumatic as this one, or maybe more traumatic, and we don't pay attention, and they taint our behavior daily. They taint our parenting and our tone of voice when we speak to our children in certain circumstances that resemble the things that we experienced, and we just don't know why. We just think that's the way we are. We're just pissed, and it's not that. Yeah, that's what I wanted to share. It's so important for us as parents, especially because we've been blessed with this lives, with this amazing human beings that we're to hold space for and guide while they discover themselves and why they came into this world and stuff. We can't make their lives more difficult and give them so much to deal with when they grow up, just because we have not looked at our own stuff. It's so important for us to invest in ourselves, and that doesn't necessarily mean money wise. Time wise, there is amazing information on YouTube for free, for absolutely free, that just requires that we sit down and actually listen and take notes and listen again, just so that the information is really imprinted in our on our minds. And then maybe going further and investing in becoming part an amazing containers and discovering amazing people that have dedicated their lives into understanding how the human brain works, how emotions work, how to deal with emotions, and all sorts of different things. And it's so important for us to invest in ourselves. Like, we are the most valuable assets that we have, and we can't invest more on our homes, our wardrobes, and all the good stuff that, yeah, we love to invest in, and that, yes, I love investing in as well. But our minds and understanding, creating awareness and investing in things that rise our levels of consciousness and awareness and understanding of ourselves is so important. Anyways, that is it for me, and I wish you a good night or a good morning wherever you are, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye.